The Minions cinematic universe is one of the highest marveled movie franchises of our lifetimes. With Minions: The Rise of Gru coming to theaters as the 5th installment in the franchise, you might be thinking, hey, I should rewatch the entire franchise. Wait, you're not thinking that? Hi, I'm a 25-year-old that watched every Minions movie in a single day, and in this video, I'm going to be watching every Minions movie in a single day. There are 470 minutes of Minions for us to enjoy, which is almost a full working day of our quirky little yellow friends. In order to pull this off, we're going to need extreme precision with our scheduling. Everything is leading up to the final theater showing of Minions: The Rise of Gru. To up the stakes even more, since that's what YouTube viewers seem to like, I've already booked the ticket for a 6:50 p.m. showing tomorrow evening. So with all that said, and 8 hours of Minions ahead of me, I better finish up my warm milk, get tucked in by my mommy, and get ready for a day that I most certainly will not regret. I haven't seen this movie probably since it came out, and I don't know if I've even seen any of the other ones that we're going to be watching today, but Despicable Me was actually a lot of fun. There was a lot of actual pretty funny moments, some good like smash cuts. The transitions were out of this world. They had no business being as clean as they were.
Assemble the Minions!
Wait, he literally says Minions assemble! I literally wrote down a note that says that. That being said, the animation definitely is a little lackluster. I'm expecting Despicable Me 2 to be significantly better from an animation standpoint.
Pause for effect.
Hi. So this was a shirt that was supposed to come the day I filmed the video, but it came like 2 days later. So now I'm gonna wear it for this stuff. So just know anytime I'm wearing this shirt, it's recorded way after. So when I initially actually watched all the movies, I filmed most of that footage the same day, but I kind of missed a lot of the jokes that I wanted to make, and so that's what this is. For instance, I always love when there's a Wilhelm scream in a movie, it automatically gives it kudos. One thing the Minions franchise does really well is that it has a lot of really iconic quotes like these.
Light bulb. No. I said dart gun.
What?
I also just genuinely love the scene when Gru shakes a minion and turns it into a glow stick. That is just so funny to me. I don't know why. It is really unfortunate that kids keep dying in this movie though. Well, at least almost dying. And I do feel like every news outlet needs this camera angle. It's just incredible. I don't know why I didn't talk about this in my initial reaction to Despicable Me, but we get the first of many dance scenes in these movies at the end of the first one that just kind of sets the precedent of what we're gonna get moving forward. I also really hope we get more of DJ Minion, whatever his name is. The first one, all things considered, was a good time. I enjoyed watching it. There was a lot of times that I laughed out loud or just like was genuinely surprised with some of the plot points. Vector being the bank owner's son, like genuinely surprised me. I didn't know that was a thing.
Hey, Dad.
Oh, also the soundtrack is really good. I also thought the pacing of Despicable Me was like really good. It was really fast paced, but everything was explained just enough to like understand everything. Obviously the plot is super surface level. It's a kids movie. There's not going to be anything that crazy. All things considered though, Despicable Me is a 6 out of 10, and we're moving into Despicable Me 2 from 2013. Yeah, it was a lot worse, and that's kind of what I was expecting. Right off the bat, you can just tell there's gonna be so many more Minions shenanigans, and like they're gonna have their own like side plots to the whole movie. And that's exactly what ends up happening. The Minions are already starting to take a priority, and you already see a shift in the Despicable Me movies towards the Minions that's just gonna lead to the Minions having their own movies. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. Some of the jokes and gags are still good that they do with the Minions, but a lot of it is just really stretched out and really just like over the top, and that's kind of what this whole movie felt like. It was just very over the top, and I feel like they're gonna run into the same issue as franchises like Fast and the Furious, where they just are going to continually try to one-up themselves with the excitement factor and the funny gag factor and everything like that, to the point where it's just going to get way too over the top. And already in Despicable Me 2, it was feeling a little bit too much. Hey, it's Future Aves back with more jokes. Well, at least I think it's jokes, but like this scene is pretty much straight out of a horror movie. We do get a prime example of Marvel disguises though, so that's cool. And speaking of Minions, I'm definitely trying to show up to this party. It looks sick. They really thought they could just steal this scene from the pacifier and we wouldn't notice.
Three times like a kangaroo. Side step, twice step, like the crab.
And then right here, the movie turns into like an FPS video game, and it's so weird. I do have to give them props for reusing the fart gun from the first movie, though. That's a pretty cool callback. I also just really quickly want to talk about the noses of the Despicable Me universe, because nobody has a regular nose. Every single character has just a ridiculous nose for no reason. This movie also was a little bit hectic. It was still very fast paced, but also like kind of nothing happened in the first hour because there was so many plots happening at once and it wasn't really clear which one was the A plot. The A plot is supposed to be the whole spy situation when they're trying to find the serum and save the world, but it feels like the Minions kind of situation with all of that happening is also part of the A plot, and it turns out that it sort of is part of the A plot.
Hold the horses. Who are you texting?
No one, just my friend Avery.
Oh, I didn't even freaking talk about the fact that there's a character named Avery that is mentioned in like the first 5 minutes of the film and then never again.
Avery. Avery. Is it a girl's name or a boy's name?
We don't meet Avery. We don't see Avery. We don't even know if Avery's a boy or a girl. Who the fuck is Avery? If Despicable Me doesn't answer that question for me, I'm going to be so livid.
Does it matter?
No.
There are also a few very, very weird scenes in this one. Like the scene when Lucy's on the airplane and everyone is Gru because she's like daydreaming about Gru, to the point where even the baby is Gru for some reason. And we get this amazing line.
I just did a boom boom.
Oh, hold on. Maybe that's Avery.
I'm Antonio.
Oh. Of course it's not. And then the ending scene really just set me up for how terrible of an experience I think I'm about to have in Despicable Me 3. It is just so ridiculous and not funny and not really that cool. They are absolutely dripped out. But besides that, it's just, I'm not ready for Despicable Me 3. And apparently most people also weren't, because this has way, way worse ratings than the first two films. Oh my god, the nose joke. Oh, right in the fucking eye. I genuinely enjoyed the first film, and the second one was just so disappointing, like I knew it was going to be. What the fuck? Dude, I do not want to watch the third one. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. Now we're moving on to Despicable Me 3 from 2017 with a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, there's a reason it was like a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was really bad. The plot, like, I don't even know if really they had a very fleshed out plot to begin with. It's really all over the place. The Minions are completely on their own, and it really just feels like they wanted this to be a Minions film to follow the 2015 Minions film. But it's not. It's a Despicable Me movie, so the Minions are just doing their own thing for like 85% of the movie, and then they join in during the last like 20 minutes, where historically in the Minions franchise, that's when everything happens. I will say that this has spawned probably the best reactions, so this probably has the most reaction clips from when I was watching the films. Oh god! Oh god! What? What the fuck? What the fuck? I will say the animation is quite a jump forward versus the 2013 and 2010 prequels to Despicable Me 3, but I think a lot of that is just times changing and technology getting a lot better for computer-generated animation, if I had to guess. Also, the noses are just getting more and more and more ridiculous.
Miss Valerie Da Vinci.
Gru having a brother came completely out of the blue. We don't even have any lore on Gru's family origins at all.
My brother! Drew!
So to all of a sudden have all of this backstory on Gru's family and he suddenly has a twin brother is totally bonkers. And then he's trying to be a villain because their dad was a villain, and it just makes no sense. It's just like, here's more Steve Carell for ya, and he's gonna impersonate both of his characters in a scene where they switch places. So he's just being Gru as Drew, playing Gru. It's
It's me, Gru! And me, Drew!
Also, we have no additional information about the elusive Avery character from Despicable Me 2, which upsets me quite deeply. This one also felt somehow the most disconnected so far. It didn't really feel like a sequel to Despicable Me 2, other than that it was the same main cast of characters. Other than that, it's like in a completely new place with a completely new villain, and the villain league, anti-villain league or whatever is like barely even in the movie because they get fired, and then they go over to his brother's house that's like in a different continent or something. It just feels like a completely different movie. That is literally exactly what's happening. No, it's him. No! No! With that being said, I'm ready to leave the Despicable Me era and go into the Minions era, which are technically prequels to the Despicable Me films, which follow the Minions' journey to finding Gru in the first place. I'm going to give it a 3. With that out of the way, let's get into 2015's Minions. Good God, what was that movie? It feels so different than the rest of the Despicable Me films, and like in a worse way. The narration, I understand, is like super necessary for the first like 20 to 30 minutes, but it also just feels really weird and like out of place, and somehow also forced, even though it's so necessary because Minions don't fucking speak English. Hey, I have more jokes. Please laugh. Yeah, I know this movie's like really, really bad, but this little scene about the size of their weapons is actually pretty funny. But then we get right back to just the worst because they like created stop motion digitally. I don't know. This scene looks so bad. And then we have just whatever the hell this is. And I feel like this scene just perfectly encapsulates what this movie is. That being said, and how awful this movie is, there are redeeming qualities. I think the pacing through the backstory of the Minions is done pretty well. They just do really fly through the first few bosses that the Minions had over the years and passing through time. Excluding 1939 to 1945, by the way, the Minions didn't really do anything, and honestly, there wasn't really anything of significance in world history anyway. And then after the first like 25 to 30 minutes, this movie went downhill so fast. It just continuously got worse and worse and worse. Are the Minions basically the Ninja Turtles, but banana instead of pizza? What did I just watch? How does this keep getting worse? I think Australia and India are a little bit further apart than that. I could be wrong. Oh, Kevin's alive! Let's go! There's really no plot, which is what I predicted. I assumed that this movie would not really have that much plot, and it would just be Minion shenanigans for 90 minutes. And that's sort of what it was, but they really tried to have a plot with Sandra Bullock's character and John Hamm's character. He's in this movie.
Oh, that works out because I love...
Well, I love too.
But it just like really didn't come across very well, and it ended up like they weren't even really involved in the narrative that much anyway because the Minions kind of incidentally went on their own. I understand that you have to pander to the parents as well and make it somewhat enjoyable, and that's why they did things like this god-awful Beatles reference. Along with some other references that felt a little less forced. There is one really good reference. I thought I did really enjoy the moon landing Hollywood set reference. That's pretty funny. I think we can all agree that's pretty funny. And some of the minion shenanigans that they get into are pretty silly and quirky and silly and goofy and gaffy and random, but it's really nothing we haven't seen before except the scene when except that scene when Kevin gets really big. There's not really anything new that the minions do. I don't know. This movie felt very non-essential to the cinematic universe of the Minions, also known as the MCU, obviously. And I really don't know why there's a second prequel to the Despicable Me franchise, but there is, and I have 45 minutes to get dressed and go see it. It's definitely worse than Despicable Me 3 somehow, and it's getting a 2 out of 10. Let's hope to God that Minions Rise of Gru is at least marginally better. Oh my God, this is awful. What? How? I don't understand. How? I just got back from the theater watching Minions: The Rise of Gru, and it was good. Like pretty freaking good. And now I have no clue what life is anymore. What do I do? Why was it good? I thought it was supposed to be bad. I thought that was the whole meme. I thought that's why we wore suits. But no, this movie deserves a suit. How? I was so surprised, especially coming off Minions that was so dog shit. And then to watch Minions: The Rise of Gru and have a good time? And I'm eating movie theater popcorn, sipping on a root beer? And I was definitely in a suit? I really just don't even know what to say because it was genuinely a really good time. One specific thing I will talk about is that we can all agree that Michelle Yeoh's character is absolutely a multiverse version of Mrs. Wang, right? There's just no way it's not. Mrs. Wang is in it. She teaches minions how to do kung fu. It had so much more plot than the last one. There were very high stakes because Gru was literally going to be ripped to pieces from a clock. I will say it wasn't nearly as funny as some of the other Despicable Me films, namely the first two, but it did still get my laughs a few times and definitely got the laughs of the audience a lot of times. Don't get me wrong, this is not a perfect movie, and it's definitely not the best movie I've ever seen, nor is it even the best animated movie I've ever seen, nor is it even the best animated movie I've seen this year. However, it was good, and I know that's not really saying that much because the other ones are pretty mid, but this one is worth watching. I'm serious. It was genuinely a good time. There was a lot of really cool characters, all the performance was really good, and it was just a goof and a gab with some minion friends. What more can you ask for? So at this point, you might be asking, why did you do this? And I'm asking that too. I wanted to see what the hype was all about. I wanted to suit up and take it to the theater, and I thought the only way to do that correctly would be to watch all of the Minion films, and it just so happened that all of the Minion films fit perfectly into a nice little 8-hour day. I know that my actual MCU, my Marvel video is very highly anticipated. I get asked about it all the time. I promise it's coming. I promise I'm working on it. But right off the bat, I'm just gonna say that watching the Minion movies was a hell of a lot more fun, and working on this video has been a lot more fun. I said it. The MCU is better than the MCU. Oh, I didn't get my rating on Rise of Gru. That's because it's a 7. At the end of the day, these Minions movies are just goofs and gabs, and they're just for fun, and honestly, I had a lot of fun making this video. The movies are fine, there's not really anything that wrong with them other than that a lot of them are pretty garbage, but that's what children's movies are, right? Especially these days. It could be worse, they could be watching YouTube Kids, so Minions ain't that bad. So until my next questionable film take, thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, do the right thing, good vibes only, and never stop creating. Peace.